Okay, so I'll just pause. Okay, good morning to everyone, and thank you for joining us for our first webinar. We are looking at exploring college opportunities today. This is a live and interactive webinar, so we will ask you to pop your questions in the chat box at the bottom, and we will work through them at the end of the presentations. It is going to be recorded, so we'd ask you to turn off your camera if you don't want to be seen, and we're muting everyone just to keep things, the background noise down. We'll start off with just a little background about who we are. And I'll just share my screen there. So hopefully you can see our screen now, and I'll just admit people as we're going along. So if you're not aware of our service, we are Meath Adult Guidance and Information Service. We're running this in collaboration with Louth's Guidance this week as part of College Awareness Week. What we do is we are an independent and impartial adult guidance and information service. So what that basically means is we help you with all options. If you want to see where you are, if you're lost in the volume of courses that's out there, we will help you research them. We will help you look at the options of what suits you, which ones you're eligible for, where's my money, where's my childcare, anything that you need support-wise or form-wise, we're here to help you. We're both mature students myself. Sorry, the screen's going a bit funny. We're both mature students ourselves, myself and Aisling, and we'll just talk a bit about ourselves in a minute. The screen that's coming up is just showing you some of the options that are available to you in the ETB, but as I say, we give all. We'll talk a little bit about VITAS, as we've got a good few of the VITAS students on this morning, even too. VITAS is a very good access program for college too. It has very good programs and they're still open to applications. So if you're keen to look at something now for college this year, please contact us as soon as you can. Now I'm going to kick straight into the presentations today, and we have our first speaker, Vanessa Byrne. So Vanessa, I'll just ask you to share your screen and I'll stop sharing there.
Hi everybody. I'm going to tell you a wee bit about my story to date.
I don't see your screen at the moment. Is it coming up?
Yeah. Hold on a wee second. Share screen. Okay.
And you're
so
perfect.
Yeah, can everyone see that? Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Super. So as Eilís said, my name is Vanessa Byrne, and I have used both the Cavan Monaghan and the Louth Meath ETB to get to where I am today. So I'll give you a bit of a background story. So the beginnings, they were in 2013. I finished school. I had a very average leaving cert, unfortunately. I always kind of
turn on your camera. Sorry, your camera's off at the moment.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just be nice to see.
Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no bother at all.
You've lost your presentation now. Sorry.
Brilliant. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, just turn your presentation back on.
Lovely.
Yeah, perfect.
So as I said, the beginnings were in 2013. I left school with a very average leaving cert. I actually had loads of potential, but I didn't use it. I did well in some subjects. English and home economics were my favourite. I did really good in them, but unfortunately I failed maths. And that was a bit of a deal breaker for me, and we'll come back to that one. During school and throughout my whole life, I always kind of wanted to be a midwife. But my grades in school said differently. And to be honest with you, school was a bit of a crap time for me in general. As I said, the sad thing I knew is I could do better, but I was a bit of a rebel and I thought I knew better, but I didn't. And of course, as with most rebellious teenage girls, I had a few dodgy boyfriends. I actually planned to emigrate after my leaving cert with one of them, but fortunately I changed my mind. And that started me on my journey to where I am today. So here I am with the 2014 Aussie Rules Irish team. I decided to listen to my mother for the first time ever in 17 years and applied to Cavan Institute for a PLC course in sports therapy and physiotherapy assistant. Obviously, with my Leaving Cert, I never would have gotten into midwifery. So it was a bit of a turning point for me. I changed my direction from nursing and changed my life altogether. I thought physio was really good for me. I was really active and my attention span is actually quite short, which I've come to know in the last few years. But I still get to look after people. So I really thought physio was for me. Quite early on in the course, I actually started work as a junior sports therapist. So I was working 15 hours plus a week at games and with amateur athletes, and that is something that I learned as well. I think I sacrificed a lot of my college work for that, so yeah, I wouldn't be doing that again, but that was a really good time in my life. So I did my 2 years in Cavan. I had a load of practical experience, loads of CPD and extra courses, and Erasmus in a German hospital. And that picture there is the hospital that I worked in. So I thought I would have a surefire entry into university, but I was wrong. This was 2015 and kind of marks the beginning of my journey with the ETB. I researched the area, and Jason Donoghue, who has unfortunately passed away, agreed to meet me and discuss my situation, and that was with the CMETB. Thankfully, I filled out my CAO and UCAS applications to the Byrne, and I did get other offers, but I didn't get physiotherapy. I got podiatry and health physiology, etc. But I said to myself, I'm going to hold out and trust my gut, and that was the right thing to do. So here was a bit of a turning point for me as well. I didn't get my preferred course, so no physiotherapy, and I was kind of forced to take a good look at my Leaving Cert grades. I also learned here that my problem with maths was bigger than I actually thought, and it was kind of tripping me up at the last hurdle. Fast forward a few months later and a few crappy jobs, and Jason in the CMETB sheds a bit of light on a fantastic course in Clodagh in Dublin. It was called Pre-University Physiotherapy. I decided to apply, I got my place, and the rest is history. So here I am working in a physiotherapy clinic, and I'll go on to explain this. So my pre-university physiotherapy course definitely gave me the solid foundation I needed to be at least acknowledged by universities. So as mentioned before, my maths grades and my Leaving Cert grades were very poor. So this kind of gave me a bit of a leg up in terms of, as I said, at least being acknowledged by universities. So I began to reapply to universities in 2015 in the UK and Ireland. I was given no hope again for physio in Ireland, but some in the UK. And I did get Teesside University, but I decided I wasn't ready for that big of a move. I worked full-time in a job, in a physiotherapy assistant job, sports therapist job, and commuted from Cavan to Finglas to Navan to Cavan the whole way through. As mentioned, I would never do that again. As I said, I was on a bit of a hamster wheel, but thankfully it came off. So here again, we see the work-life balance was not fantastic. I kept my part-time job in the physio clinic and worked there self-employed for as long as I could. As I was self-employed, I actually had no job security, and I started to get really sick in general, anxiety, tummy problems, and a shoulder injury. So I had to bow out, unfortunately. I took a wee bit of time off, and then I took up a job as an activity coordinator in a dementia unit, and that was my favourite job to date. So a bit of a jump from physio assistant, I know, but I think this is me kind of coming to a turning point where I realised that I actually really want to look after people in a holistic way, in opposed to, we'll say, sports medicine. So I kind of had a bit of a turning point here, as I said, and I kind of came into my own. And this job really opened my eyes to my greatest passion and talent, looking after other humans and chatting, of course. And sometimes during this job, I worked alongside the speech and language therapist, and I was genuinely so fulfilled for once in my career. So this kind of really ticked my buttons. Ticked my boxes, sorry. I love this job, but there was no progression here. And I had a bag of BTAC and CPD qualifications, a decent CV, but no degree. And here on the right is a wee picture of something that I completed with the residents in the dementia unit. So I'm very proud of that myself. So this is the kind of the start of my journey with Eilis. I took the plunge. I reached out to Eilis and began my journey to university again. I was definitely out of my comfort zone this time. And noteworthy, I actually was a mature student now, so I was 23. Eilis and the LMETB helped me through the good and the bad times. The interview prep, confidence building, links for funding and general supports. My heart was actually set on Trinity. So as mentioned before, I had jam-packed up my CAO, but Trinity was on top for physiotherapy. I had the interview at Trinity and it really knocked me for 6. Trinity, as I said, was my go-to, and I was really, really interested in it and really, really wanted to go there, but my maths results yet again held me back. So I was questioned about that, and I kind of just froze on the spot and I didn't have an answer for them. And yeah, I kind of messed the whole thing up. So I remember phoning Eilis that day and I walked into the Lewis and I was actually holding back the tears. So that was back to the drawing board for me. So as I said, my CAO was jam-packed, but UCC was the last on my CAO list because I'm actually from Cavan, so Cork is pretty far away from that. So I got an interview for SLT, speech and language therapy, in May, and the head of clinical therapies invited me down for an interview for a mature student place on the course. And after much persuasion from Eilís, I did my interview. And I actually thought I hadn't a hope in hell because the points that were needed for this course were 520. So I went down anyway and I said, look, it's character development if it's nothing else. And I got the shock of my life, obviously, when I was accepted. I found that UCC looked at my strengths and not my weaknesses. And they took into account that my CV was full in opposed to my crap leaving cert. And yeah, as I said here in the slides, I finally felt like somebody, you know, I felt like I could actually progress. And the rest is history. Here I am in second year on the other side of the country, rocking it. A bit of self-belief and support go a long way. And I feel like SLT was definitely the best fit for me. It fits my personality and my passion so well, and it's such a broad area. So here on the right, we have an SLT working in a hospital, and then we have a pediatric SLT here in a clinical setting. And
I think you froze there, Vanessa. Hello. Can anyone else hear Vanessa? Sorry.
No, can't hear.
No. Okay, Vanessa, we might get you just to disconnect and rejoin. Okay, so we just lost Vanessa at an interesting part of the story, unfortunately, just when she started her and she was going to talk about some of the funds that she's accessed for college. We'll just give her a second to see, can she join? We were thinking the technology mightn't be a problem this morning, but we just lost her. Okay, so what we were talking about doing is we might just move into the next speaker and we can come back to Vanessa. From the next speaker, we're going to go into a college. We're looking at welcoming Clodagh from the Mature Student Officer from Trinity. Clodagh, would you like to join in there now and mute yourself? And we can see your presentation. Thanks, Clodagh. Can I hear you? Yes, I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now, Clodagh. Welcome, Clodagh, and thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks so much, and I was really looking forward to hearing the end of Vanessa's story there.
Yeah, I hope she'll come back in now. So
yeah, she will, and it just goes to illustrate how the path to higher education is often not very straight. And I'm delighted today to see so many, or to hear that so many VTOS students are on the call today, because that's what gave me my break to higher education. I did a VTOS scheme in Pierce College in Crumlin, and I'm forever grateful for the opportunity that they gave me and that I got from that course. So that's what led me to the job that I have today, working with mature students. I'm very, very passionate about education. So this morning or this afternoon even, I'm delighted to talk to you about the opportunities that are available in Trinity for mature students and also for students who are not mature. I'm conscious that there are a number of people linked into this call today who are not mature students. So I just want to highlight some of the opportunities that are available for them. And Vanessa gave you an overview of the complex nature of application. So there is a little bit of work and a little bit of I suppose, guidance needed in terms of the application process. So what I plan to do today is just briefly look, and we only have a few minutes, so briefly look at Trinity, the college itself, why you might consider studying in Trinity. Have a look at the overview of the requirements. What do you need when you're applying to Trinity as a mature student or a student coming from further education? A very quick look at the application process, outline the supports, and then point you in the direction of events that are coming up that I really would love you to engage with, because I think they give you a great insight. It's okay me talking to you today, but it's people like Vanessa, the students who are in the colleges, who really can give a really good insight into the college and help people make up their mind about what they want to do and where they want to do that course in the future. So often when I talk to students, and particularly mature students, about Trinity, they always say, I don't think Trinity's for me. Well, today I'd like to let you know that Trinity is a really diverse college. 1 in 4 of our students come from an alternative entry route. So they're not coming in with the Leaving Cert points for the course they applied for. They're coming through alternative entry routes, and mature students make up a significant cohort within that diverse group. So I just like to highlight that today. We pride ourselves on our Trinity experience. We encourage students to get involved in college life wherever you go to study. What you give is what you get. If you get involved in college life, you will enjoy your experience a hell of a lot more. It's not so much like work, but you're getting involved in college life and really enjoying it. We obviously offer an excellent education. We have great career opportunities. And just to say, a mature student is a student who's over 23 on the 1st of January in the year of application. So every year we'd have a number of students who are in their 20s, early 30s, looking to get a degree in order to progress on to employment, just like Vanessa there, getting a professional qualification. But there are others who are fulfilling lifelong ambition. So they're in their 60s or 70s. Their oldest student was in her 80s. She's graduated now. She's gone on to do a course, would you believe, in UCD. But we do have a student who's 75 and she's doing a pure degree in mathematics for her sins. My goodness, what a course to do. She's loving it. She's finding it a challenge, but she loves it every day, and she's having a really a good time in college and liaising with all the younger students and getting involved. So age is not a barrier. That's what I just want to say here. Age is not a barrier, and whatever motivates you to get your degree, it is all valid, and we welcome applications. We have excellent student supports, and I'll point out some of those. I'm sure Emer will be the same. All of the universities and institutes of technology have fantastic supports for students who need them. And it's important that students who do need them ask for them, and help will be there. I'm not going to go into the courses today. I don't have the time, but I do want to just give you an overview of the faculties we have. They're the kind of, the umbrellas for the courses in the university. You've got the arts, humanities and social sciences, engineering, maths and science, and health sciences. And physiotherapy there, as Vanessa said, would come in under the health sciences, professional qualifications, and we've lots of opportunities in the arts and humanities and so on. All of the courses in our undergraduate prospectus, and it's online this year, we don't have any hard copies, have a look at it. They are all open to mature students. We've got reserved places on all of those courses. And as a mature applicant, you can apply for up to 3 courses. Now, you'll be doing a lot of work on the CAO with LMETB, wherever you're based, over the coming weeks. But on the CAO, you can apply for, as a mature student, up to 3 courses with no formal requirements for most of them. So that means you don't have to have, the 520 Leaving Cert points or particular subjects. Now, Vanessa mentioned the maths and the physio. For some, most have no formal requirements. For some, there are formal requirements. And they're all outlined in our guidelines booklet, which if you're considering applying, I really would encourage you to have a look at. So maths is an important one for courses like engineering and the health sciences. You'd be looking for science courses, etc. So they're all in there, but most of the courses would have no formal requirements, which is fantastic. People apply by the 1st of February and we shortlist and call people to interview. And Vanessa mentioned her interview there, and I know they can be very daunting. That's unfortunate. That's interview is the way we progress with this process. I love the photograph here. I don't know if you can see it, but it's one of our oldest mature students there is on the far left as you look at it at the back. She was in her 80s when she studied with us. But the 3 women in the front there are 3 generations of the same family studying in Trinity. So I really love that photograph. I just wanted to point that out to you. So once the interviews take place, Trinity will notify people whether they've been successful or not by the end of May, and then through the CAO in July. And we do a lot of support in terms of getting organised for college at the end of July and orientation in August for our mature students. And this year we had 180 mature students join us in August time for mature student orientation. So it's a great way of getting to meet other students who are starting in the college, meet the staff, and get familiar with the college before it starts. And it was all online this year, and while we were concerned about that, it worked really, really well, and the students did engage. They're setting up WhatsApp groups and doing all sorts to link in with each other. Now, I'm cognizant of the fact that not everyone linking in today is a mature student, and I wanted to highlight some of our FET progression pathways to you. I was looking at them last night, and we've got over 100 places available for FET students into Trinity. So that's based on progression from a further education and training course. And I know in law, we had 2 students from Dunboyne enter our law programme, and we had 1 student from Diffie Drogheda Institute of Further Education go into BESS. There may be others, but there are great opportunities there for progression from FET. So I'd ask you to have a look at our website and have a look at the CAO to see what courses in further education will give you a progression pathway into the degree of your choice in Trinity. There are many, many opportunities there. And also just to say, if you're joining in today and you're not engaged in further education and you're interested in progressing on to higher education, a FET course, a level 5 course, will really set you up for success. The students who progress on from further education and training do incredibly well in Trinity, and in all of the universities and institutes of technology they progress to. If someone is looking, and Vanessa mentioned the interview and the application form, if someone is looking at an application form, they're not going to be concerned about how somebody did in their leaving cert many, many years ago. They're going to be looking and asking, what is the person studying now? Is that course relevant, and how are they doing? So that's what they will be looking at. So a FET course, a level 5, will really set students up for success in the future. And I encourage any of you who are not engaged in education at present to look at it as the first step on your path towards higher education. I just want to briefly outline some of the supports, and Vanessa will talk about the supports that she received, and really important, and one that's not here, and I know she will talk about, is finance. We do have scholarships and supports, financial supports for students. But some of the other supports that are here that I'd like to draw your attention to, some of them quite Trinity specific. We have a personal tutor system in Trinity. Everyone who enters Trinity is allocated a personal tutor. It's a member of academic staff who will be your advocate during your time in the university. And universities and institutes of technology are very bureaucratic and hierarchical. And if you need time off, or you get unwell and you need to take a break, you need an extension on an essay, your tutor is the person you go to. They're there all the time advocating for students, and they have a fantastic role, and they're volunteers, so they do it because they really want to. We've got a lot of mentoring supports. We've got student mentors, so mature students who train up as mentors to mentor other students. We've got a health service on campus. We've got a creche for staff and students. Students get priority there. And there is funding for parents, if those who are eligible, for reduced for subsidies in the creche, and for contribution towards other childcare should they need it. There's a career service there for those mature students who are interested in progressing on to the world of work. They can link in with the career service very early on. In terms of academic support, oftentimes mature students are worried about how they're going to fare academically. I say if you've been offered a place on the course, you're deemed to be really well capable of the course. If you're coming from FET, again, you're going to hit the ground running with the academics. But there is a lot of academic support there. We've got a maths help desk if maths is part of your programme, or a writing resource centre if writing is part of your degree, and you're a large part if you're doing English or philosophy and you're writing big essays. You can link in on a one-to-one basis with the resource centre, and they help students there. So it's fantastic. Lots of advice and learning through the learning development unit, time management, study skills. We have a number of sessions running today for mature students, for our current mature students. So they're linked in there this morning. We have our students union advocating on behalf of all students, and we have a mature student officer on the students union, which is fantastic. And college societies, we encourage students to get involved in college life where they can, knowing that there are demands on their time due to caring responsibilities, work, etc. But the more you give, the more you get. And students who engage in societies really do get that extra support, the peer support, but also that little bit of fun that makes it all a little bit more manageable when times are hard. Just to say, if you are interested, or even in the future, of applying as a mature student, the deadline is the 1st of February. Students apply through the CAO, and there's a supplementary online application form as well. If you're interested in applying through our FET routes, check out the CA, it's through the CAO, and check out the CAO for more information on that. But I'm sure you'll get lots of information from LMETB on making your application. I've no doubt about that. They provide fantastic support, as Vanessa has highlighted, to students who are hoping to go on to higher education. I just want to alert you to a couple of events that are on. If you're a mature student and you're interested in applying, don't submit your application early. I was talking to somebody yesterday who had submitted his application, then after the chat he decided he wasn't really eligible for one of the courses that he'd applied for. So don't apply early. The deadline is the 1st of February. We have our seminar, application seminar, on the 7th of January. Link in to be online, so link into that if you're interested in applying. It'll give you some tips, advice and information on making that application. And we will be running other events during January as well. But there's just another thing I wanted to mention to you today. It's College Awareness Week, and thanks to LMETB for running this event during College Awareness Week. But in the Trinity Access Programs and the Mature Student Office, all this week we are running, and look at my notes here, an Instagram live session at 1 o'clock each day. So when you finish this webinar today, maybe you'd over your lunch, well-deserved lunch, maybe tune into our live Instagram, tap the Trinity Access Programme Instagram today. We have Matthew Moore, one of our students, talking about his experience of entering college. And Matthew, just to say, we'll give you a brief little outline on Matthew. Matthew was expelled from school before the junior cert. He went on to become a mechanic, and he ran a very successful business until the bust in the past 7 years ago, and he lost his business, he lost his home, and he had to go back to scratch. He came in and did a degree with us in law and business, and went on to do a master's program, and he has a wonderful story to tell, and he's telling it today at 1 o'clock on Instagram Live. Tomorrow, Erica Fleming, who's a homeless campaigner, you may know her, she's a lot in the media. She's a 4th year student with us studying English studies. And Erica will be talking about her journey of progressing into Trinity through the Access Programme, the foundation course for mature students. So well worth tuning in there over a cup of tea at lunchtime if you can. So I'm not going to say any more. I'm just going to say thank you very much for listening to me today. We'd love you to come along to some of our events. It's a great way of getting to know the college, great way of learning more about the opportunities that are available there. And we'd encourage you to link in if you possibly can. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Clodagh.
Thanks, Clodagh. That's very comprehensive, and we appreciate your time. And I think actually Instagram live posts sound so interesting, so I'll definitely be going in to have a look at them learner stories to see how they get on. We'll move on to Dora. Dora Neal is another mature student. So Dora, can you hear me there?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you, no problem. And you can share your screen, and thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Hello, everyone. When you're talking here about mature students, I'm actually a very mature student. I started college 2 years ago when I was age 52. First of all, I was a nurse, and I decided that after raising my family, I'm a mother of 4 boys. That's me there. I started a student nurse in Belfast in 1985, and went on then to be a staff nurse in the trauma unit in the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast. And I was promoted to acting ward sister. And that was all during the Troubles as well. So you can imagine what the trauma unit was like in those times. And it'll become relevant whenever I talk later on about transferable skills. Then in 1995, I got married and I moved to Dublin, and I worked as a staff nurse in the Kappa Orthopaedic Hospital there in Dublin. And again, became a relief night sister there in 2000-2001. Then I moved back home again to County Armagh in 2001 because my oldest son, who was 4, he always wanted to play club and county football for Armagh. So we decided that we would move back. I had 2 children at the time, and we decided that we would move back to County Armagh. And then I worked as a staff nurse in Daisy Hill Hospital. Now, throughout the times through 95 and 99, I didn't actually get a degree as a nurse because that was before you had to go to university to be a nurse. So it was just through a nursing college. So I decided then, when I was on that career ladder of nursing, that I would go and do a health and social service management degree. And I started in 95 and I travelled from County Meath, where I lived, to Belfast every Monday. And in fact, in 99, I went back to do my final year of that degree whenever my son was just 5 weeks old. So then in 2003, I was pregnant with my third child and I took a career break. And then I had another child in 2005. So I didn't go back to work until 2011, and I didn't want to go back into nursing because of the hours and because really I felt that nursing had changed a lot, and I suppose I had lost, you know, a lot of confidence during that time. So anyway, I started then as a coordinator in a cardiac screening company in 2011, and this was sort of working from home. And I stayed in it for 7 years, even though I sort of felt isolated. You know, I would have liked the socialization. I could do the job okay and was learning a lot. It was a lot of it was an administration role. But I sort of felt then in 2017 that I really needed to do something. So I decided just to leave that, take a career break and decide what I wanted to do. During all this time, as I mentioned, I really had lost confidence and self-esteem. And I really thought all I was good for was sort of cleaning the house and making meals and having, you know, everything for the family. And really I put my own self aside. And in 2017, I realized that I couldn't continue with this because really my morale and self-esteem was very, very low. So I went and I did some personal counselling, and it was really just to address the what I was dealing with, and sort of every time I looked to do something else, I was thinking about, no, I can't, I'm not able to do that, I'm not able to do that. So the personal counselling, I suppose, taught me to reflect on what I had done, and as a result, I asked for help then whenever I would sort of had the counselling and I was on it sort of an even keel, and you know, my self-esteem had risen a bit, and I spoke to a guidance counsellor at that time. Now, I'd never known what a guidance counsellor was before this, but I had asked for help, and somebody put me in contact with this lady, and we discussed what it was that I would like to do, and as a result, I decided to do a master's in guidance counselling in DCU. So whenever she mentioned about that there was a course and it was a master's, I thought straight away, there's no way I'm ever going to be able to do a master's. Like, it's 21 years since I did my degree, and you know, there's a lot of teachers and a lot of educators go into this, you know, go into guidance counselling, and I'd never be able to compete with that. But anyway, she persuaded me just to do the application anyway, and I started with a personal statement. So anybody that's sort of applying as a mature student, a lot of the time there will be a personal statement. It took me, I think I was sitting 3 weeks with this personal statement in front of me, reflecting and saying, I have nothing to offer. Why am I going for this? And it wasn't until I delved into the skills that I had got through my nursing career and working through the troubles and raising 4 children. And in 5 years of that time when my children were small, due to the economic circumstances, my husband was traveling to London every week from Monday to Friday for 5 years. So I was really bringing up the 4 children then on my own as well, except for him being there at the weekends. I also did a lot of volunteering, and as per other roles, whenever I got maybe the acting ward sister and everything, people came to me to offer me the jobs. It was the same with volunteering. I'm a school governor, and I'm a parish representative for safeguarding in the parish as well. I was I was a coach for 7 years for my GAA club, and that was coaching under sixes, and that was about 70 under sixes every week. So in a way, that was a skill in itself, which I sort of hadn't recognized. So it was only toing and froing and getting the help to sort of tease out the transferable skills and to see what I had to offer through volunteering and through my past experiences that I then filled in the personal statement. So then I went for interview, and it had been the first interview I'd been at in many, many, many years. But I had used the STAR technique and just really went and practiced interviews and built up my confidence. And that's something that the ETBs can really help you with as well, about you know, being prepared for interview and, you know, having that confidence. I can say as well, in that interview, the tutor said to me about the worry he had about me was that I wouldn't be able for the intensity of the course. Now, he may have put it a little bit subtler than that, but that's what he was getting at. And because I had built up my transferable skills, and because I had done a lot of reflection, and because my confidence had built up, I was able to say to him, well, listen, I did this. I travelled to from Meath to Belfast when I was doing my my degree with two very young children. One was of whom was 5 weeks old, about bringing up the children Monday to Friday on my own, working during the Troubles in a trauma unit in Belfast, and all of those things, and all of that stood to me. So in September 2018, anyway, I enrolled in DCU as a part-time mature student, and I was a mature student because I was 52. I was sort of then wondering, it was 21 years from I had done my degree and really done any sort of study at all, only from very small courses to do maybe with my volunteering or whatever. So immediately I did engage with library workshops and the staff in the library as well. They were magnificent, and with the writing centre as well, which is part of DCU, and it's also part of, I'd say, most other colleges. Then I learned a lot from tutors and fellow students, and as a mature student, you do, you know, learn from other people's experience as well. So as part of my placement then, I had to, as part of the Masters, I had to go on placement then, and I went to LMETB and to DKIT. So in LMETB, I met Eilis, and that was something that really justified that I was on the right course, because I loved it. I was so well mentored by Eilis, and as well as that, meeting students who were like myself, returning to education, who wanted to maybe change from their original career plan and their original career ladder, because as we know now, there's very few jobs for life anymore, and it will be that we'll maybe jump from career to career, and you know, that's becoming commonplace. And the ETBs and you know, all of the help that's out there will help you to find the right path for yourself. So as I say, I worked with a lot of returners as well, and mature students who wanted to go back to college. The only thing I would say about that is that whenever I was looking to see what I wanted to do next, I was also always cognizant that I didn't want to do a course just for the sake of doing a course, or going back to education just for the sake of it. I really wanted to get something at the end of it, and thankfully I was on the right path. So whenever I was in DCU, I volunteered then as a DCU ambassador, where I supported and assisted students with CV and personal statements, and really suppose got involved with all students, like not mature and just ones who had been out from school and doing their undergrad. And I really felt it was very satisfying.
Sorry, Dora, just conscious of time there. Apologies.
Okay. So in 2020, anyway, I was awarded a first class honours in my Masters in Guidance Counsellor. And I just wanted to share this with you. I suppose I always felt fear that, you know, I couldn't do things. But now, like Nadia Comaneci, I feel the fear and I trample it. In fact, today is another where I'm putting myself out of a comfort zone just to speak to you today. I was always used to celebrating everybody else's success. This is myself and my son. But now, thankfully, I'm able to just celebrate my own successes now, and I know that you will be able to do the same. So I wish you all luck.
Thanks, Dora. I think Eilís is going to put up some of our contact details for the guidance service.
Yeah, sorry, it actually skipped through our contact details in the presentation. So they should be there on the screen now, Aisling, are they?
Yeah, just the numbers cut off there at the bottom.
Oh, sorry, we were looking at that earlier on. Okay, the number is 1800 991 898. And the email address for ourselves is mags, MAEGS, at lmetb.ie. We also have our service in Louth, so you'll see Anne Fallon there and Stephanie Burke that works in the Louth service. So if you want to contact us, as I said, that there is a free phone number, 1800 991 898. We'll stick it in the chat as it's cut off, unfortunately, in the presentation. And we do a tailored service, so we'll meet people on a one-to-one basis with COVID restrictions at the moment, but we will meet them on a one-to-one basis to discuss options.
I'm keeping an eye on the chat. There's a few questions there. Some of them might be more, I see there was one about the guards, and I was looking at one there about computer programs, so they're very course related. So we might have to get back to you and go through them sort of maybe at a different time, one-to-one, but stuff around the interview tips and that, maybe some of the...
We can definitely answer that. There's a query in there, I'd say, for accountancy courses in line 2. They're the ones that we can actually get the specific courses for you, do a tailored email for you. So we would ask you just to give us an email on the maegs at lmetb.ie, and we will email back and we'll ring you, or we'll do a virtual interview with you if you want, either just with all them options, as they might be slightly different to some of the content today. Do we want to move on to Emer, or do you want to have a little break? What do you think, Aisling?
Is everyone happy to move on? You can wave your hand if you're happy to move on. Yeah. So, okay, we'll move on to Emer, and then we'll take questions and answers then, I suppose, and that'll be a little bit of a break.
So I'll stop sharing. And Vanessa can come back in, she said, at the end, so we'll just have Vanessa in the end. Okay, so can I ask Emer Sheerin, the Mature Student Officer from Maynooth, just to come in on for her piece?
Yeah, certainly.
Hi,
are you able to see
Emer.
that?
I can see that, yes, and just need to go into your full screen, thank you. Yeah.
I think I'm in the... Is that okay now?
Yeah, it's still on the slides, just from beginning. I'll probably bring it up.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks a million. So my name is Emer, as Eilís says, and I'm the Mature Student Officer in Maynooth University. So I'm just going to try and go as quickly as possible, just looking at some of the mature students in Maynooth, what's motivating them for applying to college and coming back to college, and just look at the value that they bring to the university. I'll very, very briefly outline the application and selection processes, how you apply, how we select mature students, and what to expect at the interview. And I will just run through the preparatory courses that we have on our campus, and outline some of the supports that we have on offer. And finally, I'll just put up some of our contact details as well. Sorry, I'm conscious that we don't just have mature students here today. So I know this is my presentation is very much focused on mature students, but we have, we have QQI links also, like Trinity coming to the university. So I can attempt to answer some of those questions, but if I can't answer any questions to do with that, we have a specific person in Maynooth that I can refer you to, or I can pass on your queries to. So just with regard to Maynooth, we reserve places like Trinity on all of our degree programs for mature applicants. We're very committed to building a strong mature student community in the university, and as a result we have designated supports for mature students. And I'll talk about them in a little while. Currently we would have about 600 mature students studying with us across all of our full-time degree programs. And mature students tend to do very well in the university academically in terms of completing their courses and in the grades they attained. And in recent year we just did a small study on mature student performance at the university and found that they were overrepresented in the numbers of people getting first class honours. So they do very, very well. They also participate in all aspects of college life, and they're very they have their own mature student society, but they also act as ambassadors and volunteers in university events such as our open days, which are coming up this weekend, and in shadowing programs and you know, different college kind of events and celebratory events. A lot of our mature students take part in our study abroad program, so that's an option in all of our degrees to either go abroad for a year or for a semester, and then many are involved in work experience as part of their degree courses. Also, most of our mature students go either into employment after they've graduated or onto further studies such as masters or PhD programs. So we've recently asked our mature students what motivates them to apply and to go on to college. So people tell us that they may not have had the opportunity to continue with education when they were younger. They may have had to you know, contribute to the family finances and leave school early or whatever, and just didn't have the opportunity. Other people just feel they you know, would like a change in career or need some further qualifications to improve their job prospects. Other people have reported to us they just wanted to study in a more formal manner subjects that they've had a passionate interest in over the years, such as English literature or history or anthropology or any of the sciences. And other people just said the opportunity arose when they experienced when they went into retirement, or their family had flown the nest, as it were. So there's many reasons why people go back to college, and I'm sure some of you there who are thinking of it can identify with that. Mature students are very highly valued within the university. All of the lecturers tell us that they are so motivated and committed to their studies, that they bring valuable life experiences with them. You know, they've long history of either work or voluntary work or raising families or traveling or whatever, and they bring all of these experiences with them into the classroom, and they really enrich the lectures and seminars. And as I said earlier on, mature students tend to do very well. The application process for mature students, I will just go into in a minute, but just to say that mature students can apply for any of our degree programs. I'm also not going to go into too much details on our degrees. We have our open days coming up this Friday and this Saturday. But just to say that mature students can apply for any degree programs, and we would have two kind of broad degrees, such as our Bachelor of Arts degree and our Bachelor of Science degree. So the Bachelor of Arts has about 34 subjects that you can choose from, and the Bachelor of Science has 9 subjects to choose from. We also have specialised degrees in many areas. So we've about 30 degrees in the areas of business, economics, finance and accounting, in humanities and social science, in law, in computer science, in education, in electronic engineering, and in specialised science degrees. So there's a few degrees under each of those kind of general subject areas that people can apply for. So to apply as a mature student to Maynooth University, you apply through the CAO, and it's just CAO application only. You can do this is open now since the 6th or 7th of November. You can apply, people are beginning to apply already. You can apply online. It's usually the easiest way, but you can do a paper-backed application. And I suppose the thing with applying through the CAO is you can set up your CAO account and just start filling it in, and then just save and resume later. So you don't have to do it all in one go. And we really recommend that people start their application process early, because it does take a while. We do have late applications for some of our courses, but not all of them. So it's just important, if the 1st of February deadline has passed, that you can check on our website what courses might still be opened. And it's very important to complete your CAO application form thoroughly. So we've different selection processes for mature students, and it depends on what degree you're applying for. So some courses are interview only. So some, like our Bachelor of Arts degree or Finance and Accounting degrees, are just interview only. And in those interviews, there's an opportunity for you to tell us about your achievements, your academic, your general work life achievements. You get opportunities to ask us questions, and we take the time in the interview to provide advice and guidance that is relevant and tailored to your own situation. We, some of our other degrees, there's a written assessment as part of the selection process, after which a shortlist is compiled for interview. So these will be for those specialised degrees and all of our science degrees. These written assessments are not an aptitude test. They are usually a question that would require an essay type answer, just your general interest in the degree and why you're applying for it. But all of our science degrees and our psychology degrees do have a mathematics component to that test. So we have Mature Student Handbook. I don't know if you can see that there. I have a copy of it here, and I can post that out, or we have it online for anybody that wants a copy, and I can certainly send it on to Eilis and LMETB and the VTOS and everything like that. So it just details the selection processes for all of our degree courses. So what we're looking for is evidence that you're prepared academically to take on the degree course, so to have completed a course in recent years, and to have acquired study skills, writing skills, maths only if relevant, labs again if relevant for science subjects, and that you've done your research into your course that you're applying for, and also that you've thought about college from a practical point of view. So many people might have been out of education for a while. I know some of you here are currently involved in level 5 or 6 studies in NAV and VTOS. So we don't mind what kind of preparatory or foundation courses people do if they have been out of education. We're not too prescriptive. So we get a lot of students coming from NAV and VTOS, from Dunboyne, from Diffie, you know, so from all of those places. But just wanted to kind of highlight some of our own preparatory courses. So we've 3. We've the Return to Learning, which prepares people for studying these arts and social sciences. We've a certificate in science, for going into science and engineering, and then we've a teaching foundation course as well, and that's at level 6. I suppose the thing with our courses on campus, that if you get 60% at the end of your foundation course, you're automatically guaranteed entry into the relevant courses in the university. But as I say, we get people coming from all of the different ETBs. So the supports, so we've supports for both potential students and after you've become a student at the university. So we provide advice and guidance on application selection processes, our courses, finance, etc. So if anybody is applying, in the process of applying over the next few weeks or months, or have applied and are being called for interview, please feel free to contact me, and my contact details will be up on this, and I think these are all being recorded anyway. So we do provide advice on all those. We have shadowing program, which unfortunately we can't run this year because of COVID restrictions. But if people are in VTOS, say this coming year, hopefully by February 2022, we'll be back to normal and be able to offer these. So we have our unique selection processes, as I say, with interviews for many of our courses. We also have academic skills courses in mathematics and academic writing. So if people apply and they feel they could do with more on academic writing, then we can refer you on to free courses during the summer. We have those preparatory courses that I mentioned with guaranteed progression. And then when you become a student, we have our orientation program specifically for mature students and students coming through the alternative entry routes. We have dedicated student advisors, so people can, we have within our access office, we can provide support around academic, personal, financial issues. And we have a disability support service, we have technology support, which obviously was extremely important this year. And our supports and technology actually started in July of this year, just for mature students. And we have a student budgeting advice service. And for people struggling financially or having problems with their SUSI or back to education allowance, so you can use that service.
Conscious
and
of
we
time
also
there,
have
Emer, sorry.
support centre. I'm coming up, am I, to the time? Okay, so just very, very briefly, and I know Eilis and everybody in LMETB will be going through, but just the general supports, the grant, back to education allowance, 1916 bursary, university, scholarships, there's partnerships and Vincent Ball of education funds for people going back into third level education. Studentfinance.ie is a great source of information for funding. And then within the university, we have the Student Assistance Fund and the Student Emergency Fund. Finally, so just stuff coming up. So this Friday and Saturday, we have our open days, and I would encourage people to go onto the website and you can register. The format is kind of on the Fridays, a lot of videos and just the student life experience, but there's questions and answers. And then on the Saturday, we've individual presentations on all of the subjects and the supports offices within the universities. You can find the application process and everything like that. So I'll be going into my presentation, but I have a lot more detail on the application selection process. And there are other things going on through the day. And that's my contact information. So I'm Emer, and that's my email and phone number, or you can contact generally the Access Programme. Okay, apologies for going over. Thanks very much.
Fine, perfect. I just don't like interrupting people.
No, you're okay. That's good. Good. No bother. Thank you.
Thanks, Emer. That was great. And I don't know, just we lost Vanessa earlier on in the presentation. So do you want to come back, and Vanessa, just to have a quick chat, and we'll then go into the question and answer session.
Yeah, super. I'm not going to turn on my video because it might go a bit funky. But yeah, these are just a couple of slides I have. So yeah, as I said, UCC was last on my CAO list. So if you take anything from today, guys, it's to fill up your CAO to the last, even with things that you think that you that aren't as big a preference for you, you know. So definitely do that. As I said, the rest is history. Here I am in second year on the other side of the country. I'm rocking it. I don't know about that now, but I'm trying my best. And a bit of self-belief and support go a long way. As I said, this is all thanks to Eilis, the LM and CM, ETB and university who awarded me a scholarship. So we can ask questions about that at the end. I've also popped in the link for the application process into the chat, guys, if you want to have a look at that as well. And just to note as well, that's for mature students. So anyone who doesn't fall into that category, there are other bursaries that you can get, like the 1916 and student assistance funds, etc. So this is just some advice, some quick advice. Help is available, please take it. The ETB is the reason I am where I am today. So please use these services, guys. They're really, really important. We all need each other, and you won't regret it. And also, if you're applying for a course with 500 plus points, or a course maybe in a profession, as I said, like the medicine or speech and language, OT, things like that, your leaving cert will more than likely be taken into account. Now I know Clodagh has said that Trinity is kind of an interview-based selection process. So yeah, just do your research, guys, and don't pigeonhole yourself with your choice of course. Always fill your CAO, as I said. Don't be afraid to change direction. Take advice, but follow your gut instinct, and do your research on a couple of courses that stand out to you, and find out what you need so that you won't be left in the lurch. Also be mindful of your limits as well. The work-life balance is really, really important. That's something I found as well. This is my third time going to college, so I'm definitely taking a step back now and learn just how to say no sometimes. Also, this is my favorite slide. If you can believe in this guy for 10 years, you can believe in yourself for 5 minutes. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say. Yeah, so just don't give up. Reflect on how far you've come, and use the ETB services because they are there for a reason. So yeah, that's it, guys.
Only 10 years,
Thank
Vanessa.
you so much for inviting me.
Very cynical.
But we'll not mention that one, actually.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Okay. So just for the questions, a few specific ones about different courses, as I said. I saw one from Jane there about applying for social work in, I think, was it in Trinity? So I applied for social work myself, and that was a long time ago, 20 years ago. So I would have made 4 course choices for Trinity. So it would have been social work, social science, with social policy, and also, sorry, sociology and social policy, and also BESS, business economics and social studies, and history and political science. So with the social work, you're kind of concurrently doing your social work qualification and your social science studies at the same time. So at the end, you come out with after your 4 years as a qualified social worker. But you don't have to go that route. If you go the sociology and social policy route, you can go on and do postgrad in social work anyway. But I didn't get the social work course, and I think they really require you to have quite a lot of work experience in that area and to have a lot of volunteer work done, which I don't think I would have met the requirement. The social policy and sociology interview, at the time I was with Owen O'Sullivan, I'm not sure if Owen O'Sullivan's still over that department, but his interview, you really did need to know examples of social policy, how it affected people in society. And the same with history and politics. They wanted me to compare and contrast the federal system in America with the European Union federal system, and I didn't know how to do that. So you have to actually know a little bit about what you're applying for. So the social policy course I did get, but it was more current, I suppose, and I was looking at what was going on in the newspapers, and you had my own sort of take on housing policy at the time. So it's very important to be very current to what's going on. I noticed a lot of COVID seems to be the dominating thing at the moment, but you have to be current. You have to know a little bit about what you're applying for. And at least if you don't know what they ask you, if it is very specific, at least be able to direct it towards something else, that's something you've read recently or that you've been thinking about maybe. Yeah, Clodagh, sorry.
Could I just add there, yeah, I think you're right. For something like social work and those professional qualifications, they put as much emphasis on recent and relevant education and voluntary work or work experience. It doesn't always have to be paid work, but voluntary work is really, really important as well in a related area. So yeah. Just to say, when you mentioned there's an interest in social work, we have an event on Friday. Now, I did advertise this and it's closed, but if there's anyone here who's interested in doing social work, we've got a Discover Trinity Social Work Day on Friday from 10 to 2 o'clock. Okay. We have the course director, the person who'll be reading the mature student application forms, coming in to talk to students about what he's looking for in an application, telling you about the course. Some people at the end of the course say, well, actually, you know, it's not social work I want, it's social care. So it's a really good day. We've got student panel who talk to you about what it's like being a mature student in social work. And we've got virtual tours of the campus all online. So if there's anyone interested, please do email me. You can I'll pop my email into the chat box, email me, I'll open it up and add you to that. Friday from 10 to 12.
Thanks, Clodagh. And then the other, I suppose, general questions just about interviews. I know you have talked about interviews already, but what would be your key tips to yourself or Emer for going for interview?
Thanks, Ashley. I suppose the being prepared, okay, so when you're coming for interview, just say you're coming for an interview for the arts degree, just, you know, have looked a little bit into the degree and what, you know, what the structure of the degree, how many subjects are you supposed to be taking in first year, just show us that you've done a little bit of research into the degree. The other thing is really to be able to talk about your academic preparations, what you've been doing to prepare yourself academically, because as Clodagh said, we're not counting leaving cert points or anything like that, but we want people to be ready academically to take on the degree course. So to be able to talk about what courses you've done in the past or are currently doing, what modules, you know, and we tend to ask people about if they're going to something in the arts and humanities, we'd ask them about their experience of academic writing, you know, and things like that, or if they're going into something that would have maths component like finance and accounting, or obviously any of the sciences or anything like that, would be interested in their maths experience to date. I suppose the other thing that we ask people, and this wouldn't exclude you from getting a place, but we like people to have thought about college from a practical point of view. So just how they're going to get there every day, have they looked into the Susie, into the grants, into the Back to Education loans, you know, all of that kind of thing. And we also encourage people to ask questions. And we don't mind if people come in with stuff written down. You know, it's hard to remember everything you want to say or want to ask. So, you know, we're happy if people have a little notebook and want to refer to and ask us questions. But we do encourage that. And we do spend time kind of giving people advice on subject choice and on finance and funding and all of that kind of thing.
Yeah. I suppose it's just that people, that they know you've really thought about it and it's not just on a whim, because I think sometimes when you're talking about like with Dora, talking about her life experience, it's that you're determined, you know, that you're not going to let things get in the way of you doing your study, and that you can kind of prove that to a certain point, that you've overcome obstacles in your life, and that you're focused now on your studies, because you are going to have more obstacles as a mature student. You know, there's going to be more interference with your life, especially with children, that then I suppose starting off, you know, at 18, like, you know, it's a bit more challenging sometimes.
Absolutely. And I suppose just the only other thing I want to add is that, like, people, I know people get nervous when they hear the word interview, and interviews can be nerve-wracking, but it's not like going for an interview for a job at all. It's much more informal, and you know, so from that point of view, it's kind of a conversation, it's a chat. But yes, be prepared, absolutely.
Can I add in there too that I find it's the perfect time of the year now to be doing that preparation. When you're going to the open days, we've got a list of questions that you can ask just to help you, and we encourage you to write down the answers, and then that builds into your interview later in the year. We will, you know, help with your preparation for college interview. I found personally, when I went as a mature student to Trinity, DCU and Maynooth, that the college style interviews were very different too. So we kind of give you the best preparation for them. But this, you think September 2021 is a long way away, but now is the perfect time to start, because we do help with all the forms. We do help with, I think we'll take it one step at a time. And we do get people the week before coming to us, unfortunately, on the February 1st closing day, and then it's nearly too late to get all that preparation done. I was speaking to one of the mature students, engineering in Technical University Dublin last week, to see how he's getting on. And we'd spent so much time on a sphere of money, that money was going to be the problem when we did all the budgets out, and we looked at how he was going to get a student travel card and his student bank accounts and the university funding and student assistance fund. And actually he said that wasn't a concern now at the moment. He really was fine. He hadn't even approached the student assistance fund. He got his laptop from the college. He got €300 from the St. Vincent de Paul fund. And actually, the major thing that was holding him back for the last few years wasn't the big thing, and his foundation in VTOS gave him that confidence, that year to build up. But definitely the VTOS is open at the moment to look at that. I would recommend it. But the major things he was worried about didn't actually turn out to be what they were at all, but he was well prepared. I think that's what stood him.
Okay, I'm just looking through. Niamh is interested in career guidance. I think Eilis is the person to talk to about that.
Yeah, and I think hopefully I've answered your question there, that we'd love to see you, we'd love to meet you and help you in this process. There is guidance services all around Ireland who do similar work than ourselves. Our offices are, let's just say they're in the process of being done. We have the COVID restrictions in place. We don't have any floor covering, and the door is a bit broken at the moment, but we are working. Our offices are in Navan, the old motor tax in Navan. So we'd encourage you to contact us. You have our mobile details there, or even our email addresses, and we'll book you a time to take you through. Next week's session, we will be doing a CAO on how to actually do the form, and we will have Orla, the mature student officer from Blanchardstown, if anyone's interested there. So we are doing a bit of virtual work this year, but as you heard, the colleges too, they're there to help. just contact the mature student officers too, as well as ourselves.
Okay. I think that's it.
And I don't want to, like, the people who ask the questions about the accountancy and the computers and the guards, please contact us. We will get you specific information on them areas. We have people in all them careers at the moment. We've all changed career ourselves too, so we'll definitely get you help on them areas. So just not to hold people up to date, but we do want to answer them questions too. Please give us an email and we will help you in them areas.
Okay. All right. I think that's it. Is that it, Eilish? Any other questions here?
We'll hope to put this up on we're starting a new YouTube channel, Meath Guidance. So we'll hope to put this presentation up. And if any questions come in afterwards, we'll hope to answer them afterwards for you.
Okay.
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 I think that's as much as we can do today, and we thank all the speakers for the time, and thank you for everyone bearing with us with our technology. This is the first time we've done a webinar too, so thanks so much for myself and Aisling in Meath Adult Guidance, and we thank the speakers, and we hope to see you again.
Okay.
Thanks so much, everyone, and thanks for giving us the opportunity to share our stories. I hope you all get to where you want to be. So yeah, best of luck, guys.
Very inspiring.
Thanks a million.
Very much.
Thank you. Okay, bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.